Hi, Commodore Sam coming to you from LA, Lower Alabama. We've got another installment of our Prog8 series today. Brett and Andrew, mostly Brett, has been working really hard on the XVI text editor. If you've ever used Linux or some variant of it, then especially if you've used Linux for years, you may have used or probably did use VI as your text editor. There are a few, but some of us old school guys really like VI. Well, anyway, VI is, as you can imagine, not an easy program to fit inside of a retro computer that doesn't have tons of memory and processor and everything. But they've done a good job of making it feel very VI-like and with a lot of the features that it has. I'm looking forward to seeing it finished. This is just part 2. There'll probably be some follow-up episodes when they get it completely done or at least get it to the next version level. Take a look, see what you think. Again, Prog8 is a great programming language that allows you to cross compile. And of course, we are looking forward to cross compiling to some other machines as well. Besides, right now, we're programming for the Commander X16. So sit back and enjoy. And here comes Brett.
Okay, welcome back to our second episode discussing the XVI. I'm going to run it off screen here. And then, okay, so this is the more polished version of XVI 2 that we've come up with a few weeks ago. I kind of finished all the a lot of the rough edges, made it somewhat functional, and then I passed it off to Andrew, and he spent a lot of time adding some cool stuff and fixing some bugs and polishing it up quite a bit. And so what I'm going to do is just initially discuss when you first start it up, you get this window. It's like the initial buffer window, or I guess there's no actual buffer yet. But instead of being able to specify it at the command line, what file you want to open up, we haven't implemented something that allows you to do something sort of like that. It just opens up to this initial splash screen. And so if you wanted to start a new buffer in replace mode, you would just hit Escape R, capital R, or I guess Shift R. And then if you wanted to start the buffer in insert mode, it would be Escape I. I mean, if you've got a new buffer, I don't think it really matters what you started in. But if you do want to just open up an existing file, you would go straight into command mode and do :E and then the file path. And that's what we're going to do here initially, because I have a README file that covers some of the operations in the editor. It's called readme.txt, and it just opens it up. And so one thing I wanted to mention is, so if you're familiar with, you should be familiar with the navigation of VI. Otherwise, I guess a lot of this video is not going to make a whole lot of sense to you. But the normal keys H, J, K, and L work to navigate up, down, left, and right, and then the cursor keys or the arrow keys work also to do the same thing. What we got, something that Andrew had implemented was he was able to initially when I delivered this to him, if I hit lowercase g in navigation mode, it would jump up to line 1, and if you hit Shift and then G, which is capital G, it would jump to the very end of the document. And so what Andrew implemented was the feature in VI where you can actually type in the line number, and then it would jump to it. So I'm on line 139 now. I guess I'll just type in, I'm in navigation mode, and I'll type in 20, and then capital G, and that jumps me up to line 20. Okay, and so that was a really nice addition, and a lot more, I think, familiar for people who want to navigate the document. So initially, navigation is pretty useful. I think I wouldn't say it's necessarily complete, but we do have quite a bit of features in here, and you guys are going to have to remind me because I don't use a lot of the fancy navigation stuff, but I know that we can do like if you hit the the dollar sign, it'll jump to the end of the line. Okay, so we can do things like that. If you do the caret, it'll jump to the beginning of the line. And then we've even got stuff like, what is is it capital I? That'll jump to the beginning of the line and then put you into insert mode. So we jump to the beginning of the line, and then we can start typing here, and you can see that it's in insert mode. That was a nice feature that we put in. Now, I don't use a whole lot of the combination navigation, but I think a lot of people do, because Andrew and Sam here had basically, we each had our own like subset of commands that we wanted to have in here, and we worked pretty hard to implement them so that we could actually use this thing, and we would all be interested in. It would be useful to us, basically. So navigation mode, I think it's probably very usable. And then we can jump right into the different actual editing modes. And so we do have an actual insert mode. So if you're in navigation mode and then you hit I, you can start typing here. And what insert mode does for you is, obviously, wherever you are within the line, you'll start typing characters, it'll add it to the line, and then shift everything to the right. And then similarly, replace mode, well, I guess I'll do append mode. Append mode, so I guess, all right, insert mode, if I hit I here, it starts putting things before the B there. If I'm on in append mode, I'll hit A, say I'm at the end of this line, or this word after. I hit A, it actually jumps to the right of where I was, and then I can start typing here. What I just did was I hit escape to get out back into navigation mode, and then I can just hit lowercase x, and that'll delete characters and shift everything to the left, as one might expect. Let's see. Text shifts right as you type. Okay, we talked about it, showed you that. Backspace deletes to the left within the line. I'm not sure what that does, but if you hit backspace while you're in navigation mode, it'll just move your cursor back. Let's see, replace mode it'll basically just overwrites wherever you're at. So if I start here, I'm on line 34, and this character 15, and I do capital R, I'm in replace mode, and say this is now overwriting things. Now there's no undo. I wish I could just do an undo and go back to where I was, but don't have that. What I can do is I can load the file again. So let's see, readme.txt. Did that do that? Did that do the right thing? Oh, wait, let's see. Oh, unsaved changes exist. So this is a good example of some little guardrails we put in. So if I wanted to do, it does track changes. And if I wanted to open up a file while I had changes, it'll yell at me up here. It does flash kind of quickly. So I think we were talking about maybe having some errors that you had to click, not click away, but press OK or some acknowledgement. But you'll note at the very bottom of the line here, it says readme.txt is the name of the file, and then it says it's modified. And so what I have to do here actually is just force the open. So I'll do :E exclamation point and then readme.txt. That should work. There we go. Okay, so we're back to the original file. Now, if I were to make some actual changes here, just force a change right there. I can hit W and that'll save the file. Okay. If I wanted to save, let's see, I might be jumping ahead. Let's see, we talked about navigation, replace mode, insert mode. Oh yeah, so I should point out if we're in navigation mode, it doesn't really indicate that we are in navigation mode. But if you hit I or A and you go into an insert mode, you can see up at the top it says insert. I hit escape to get out of that. And then if I when I go into replace mode, I do the capital R and it shows replace up there. And then I can actually fix this little guy here, and that's more accurate to what it's showing. And then I save to readme.txt. Movement, we talked about H, J, K, and L. I'm using those right now. I showed caret to jump to the start of the line, $sign to jump to the end. Oh, paging is something, so that would be, I think I use Shift F to go forward, and then excuse me, shifted back to go back. Now, control, there was reason, I think I implemented control F. Oh, that's what happened. I don't know if y'all can see that. I just like made my screen super big.
It's like
Let's
full
see.
screen or something.
Oh yeah, did y'all see that at all? Did it look weird to y'all?
Yeah,
It
it did.
disappeared for a minute.
Okay, so I don't
You're
don't support control F, but it might, I don't know, I'm kind of afraid to touch control B. In any case, shift F and shift B will do the paging forward and back. And then L, so shift L will redraw the screen. Let's see, single character replacement. So what that'll allow me to do is if I hit little r and then I just say do a capital X, it'll replace it, and then it'll put it back into nav mode. Just replace that there. X will delete a character under the cursor. Showed that. And if you're at the end of the line, it has some detection of where the end of the actual like characters are. We're not using end of line characters right now, but we do some detection of where the like last printable character is, and so the cursor will follow to the left as such. Cursor. Okay, I'll replace that text. So we do the copy and paste. We have yank implemented, so YY. That'll copy it into like a clipboard buffer we have, and then you hit P to paste it below. And so I just copy the DD line. If I hit Shift P or capital P, it'll put it above. So that's something that VI users should expect. And I believe I'm going to demonstrate. Andrew, Andrew had implemented where you can copy multiple lines, correct? Or is it delete?
I did the delete. I don't think I did it on the
Okay.
yank yet.
Well, I'll
and it sort of inefficiently deletes them one at a time, but it was proof of concept more.
proof of concept, but I'll do it. If I do
Like
D,
4 DD.
and then D.
The number first.
Oh, 4 and then DD.
Yeah.
There we go.
You might have done 44. It's gonna be a while because it's one at a time.
All right, well, let me restart this guy anyway, because I wasn't going to save that. All right. All right, so readme ext. Okay, yeah, so
That needs an escape out option, which
that does
isn't
need
in
an
there
escape
yet.
out.
But
Well, this is why we do that, so we
Proof of
do these
concept.
things so we can. But what you can do is just do the DD. It'll delete it, and then it saves it to the clipboard, so you can put it back if you want. Lowercase p is paste below. Uppercase p is paste above, as it demonstrated. And then we can insert lines above and below. So lowercase, I'm inserting a line below, there, and I'm going to hit capital O now, and you'll see a line show up in the same spot. Now we've got a little cursor artifact there that we need to figure out. All right, command mode. So I guess as far as editing, nav mode, and doing the copy and paste, you can do all the basic stuff. And as you saw, there's some like minor things that we need to clean up with artifacts and whatnot. But it's pretty usable. Command mode. The command mode, the parsing. I don't think you really touched it at all, but the parsing for the command mode that I have is not very well organized, but we do support what's listed here, where you can quit. So command mode is if you're in navigation mode and then you hit colon, it'll allow you to type a command down here. And we have some basic support for. So if I can't. I'll just hit enter. We need to probably beef that up a lot, but the parsing is not very well organized. We can do some basic detection, which supports the quit, so you can quit but if you have unsaved changes, so like if it's modified, currently it's modified. If I just hit :Q to quit, it would tell me I have unsaved changes. If I wanted to force quit, I'd have to add the exclamation point. This guy up here. All right, we'll re-enter readme or reopen readme.txt. Okay, so let's use the paging feature. So that was quit, force quit. We can save if there's changes. If you just do the :W and then save, it'll save to the current file name. We can also do a save to other file, other readme.txt, let's say. And then you do that, and then you've got other readme. That's the main name of the document. And then if you need to overwrite a file, so let me open up readme.txt again. And if I did, if I want to save it as other readme.txt, I might have, well, let's try that again. If I try and save it as, say, readme.txt, it's gonna.
You're doing the
Oh wait,
E,
I was
not
doing
the W.
edit. I was doing I was doing :W or W. Okay, there we go. If I were to type let's see. Yeah, the escape doesn't work here, so I can't really get out of it, but I don't want to. All right, if I try and save this file as readme.txt, it'll say that already exists. If I try and save it as other readme.txt, it'll tell me that exists. If I try and save it with the exclamation point, say other readme.txt, it'll save it. And then I'll do the same thing just to get back to readme.txt. And so that just forces the writing or overwriting of the file. Edit, and we've talked about edit file name. And if we want to, excuse me, start a new buffer, I think this would do it. Let's see. So, oh, that's fun. This is a new buffer in. Let's see. This is a new buffer. Place mode. Oh, so, well, if you noticed also, it was starting, it had line number 1 and then line 85. So that's good to have captured that. Okie doke. I don't excuse me. TXT, we'll jump. Okay. Where were we? Oh yeah. So we need to fix that. See what's going on there. There are some bugs, some other bugs that we've run into. One of them has to do with the end of line, but I don't know. Maybe we'll accidentally reproduce it because I need to actually figure out how to reproduce it. So that's edit open, and then this is just some notes. New buffers have no file names, and then use :w file name to save them. Okay. Let's see, character notes. So this, I probably need to go through and update this, although this has not changed, but currently we only support ISO characters, and it's character codes 32 to 126. Double quote handling. We ran into some weirdness with echoing out double quotes, and we found that it was triggering quote mode in the ROM. And so there was a trick that we employ where we print out, do you remember what character code that was, Andrew?
It was hex 80.
Hex 80, before we print out the a double quote character. And what that does is that basically disables quote mode detection for that moment. And then let's see what else did it say here. Oh, that's actually, that lines 134 to 138 are kind of old. But in any case, next steps for us, I think, is just to use the editor and then continue to flush out these weird bugs. But my intention is to at least start doing some type-ins. Some Commander X16 type-ins, maybe some that are in the Compute's Gazette that can fit. Oh, so that can fit within 256 lines. So that was one of the big improvements that Andrew made. Was we talked a little bit about in the other episode about how the line, the struct, we were using the structs to save the lines and facilitate, the memory layout and make the code a little more organized. And I had a bug in the code that was using up twice as much memory that should have been getting used up for each line. And so I was running into actually an issue where if we could go past 140. So before Andrew got to it, if I was sitting at 140 and I hit enter here, it would go into the video RAM or the audio. I forget, it was like the 9 with the address. It's like the
9F00 hex.
Yeah,
IO
and so
area.
I was getting we were getting like beeps and boops and Yamaha errors all over on the emulator, at least the command line or the terminal. But now we can support up to 256 lines, which is awesome. And I guess there's no real good way to not yet anyway to just create 256 lines, but I can sit here basically and all the way up to 256 now. So I don't know. I mean, I think we can probably do a lot within 256 lines. And now the other challenge is going to be, as far as doing, like, say, type-ins, is the fact that the character set is ISO. And we need, I guess, in order, the type-ins are basic, right? They're the basic language. And so they need to be in PETSI in order for the proper tokenization to happen. Is that right? I'm not exactly sure how the basic interpreter really works, but so we need to talk about some strategies to deal with that. I started working on and I'm not going to show it because it's kind of half finished, but it's really just a little utility that would convert, that you would run separate, and you would convert something that you may have typed in this editor convert it to PETSC, and then I don't know what I would do after that. Load it somehow and then run it as a basic program. But I didn't complete it. But that was the approach I was going to take, at least initially. But I think longer term or midterm, we want to support, an actual PETSC mode in here, kind of like X16 edit has a PETSC mode. But I'm not familiar with the character sets at all and all the nuances, implications of things. But in any case, that's probably going to be a big deal for a lot of people, is being able to do, type ins and traditional, I guess, basic programs on the Commander X16. The other thing is, and we've talked a little bit about how we want to address this, is being able to support an arbitrary number of lines, or maybe not arbitrary, but like many more lines than we already support. Currently, we're able to load, or we can only support as many lines as we can actually load up into the memory. Actually, that's not true, right? Because we have an index, a lookup index right now. The index number is a byte. It's limited to a byte, and so that's where the 256 line limit comes in. So we need to actually figure out some strategies to support, do efficient line lookups and support more than 256 lines in order to make this actually, like generally useful for a lot of things, because a lot of those type-ins go past 256 lines. So anyway, but I think we've gotten to a really good place. I would still treat this as like alpha software. If you're going to use it, please use it with the understanding that, probably should save it often. And if you lose your work, please don't get too mad at us or me. But please let us know, what you think, and if you're interested in contributing. Obviously, it's written in Prog8, and we're happy to. It's on the Git repo, and it's open. And my initial intention of this is I wanted to create like the starting point, and then kind of hand it over to the community, and then just create like a very collaborative thing. And I think I was very pleased that Andrew was happy to take it up and implement the things he implemented, and fix the bugs that he found. So that's kind of the start of, I guess, our community contributions to it. And I'm looking forward to getting feedback and hearing what people think about it. But yeah, they'll become as good, I guess, as we all make it. So Andrew, I know we're kind of I'm kind of bumping up against my time here, but if you wanted to say anything about what you've done in the past few weeks with the code, I can hand it over to you.
Yeah, there's not too much to say there, but I mean, the one thing I was doing was, looking at the memory usage and then just putting a few, safety checks in there. So like if I tried to load a file that was too big, to stop when we ran out of memory and some of those things, because, it was essentially crashing and running into IO space and whatnot. So it just needed a few limits there, error checks. And then I was working on the navigation a little bit, just because, or the key handling a little bit, because like entering the numbers, it's like if you enter 0, it jumps to the beginning of the line. But if you enter 1, 0, then, you're starting a command that takes a number argument. And so you have to kind of remember the last character. Was it a 0 or was it a digit or a letter or number? And then when you type in some numbers like, 4 and then DD, well, then that command that can take a number has to, did he type in some numbers? And so figuring that out a little bit, and just kind of keeping track of that state of entered numbers was interesting. And that was able to get us to the point of, jumping to a specific line number or deleting, just test right now because it's real slow, but just deleting a certain number of lines, which is, of course, a key feature in VI. So one of my favorite features anyway, of jumping to lines.
Yeah, I forgot to show this. This is the just hitting 0. That's a lot more convenient than doing shift 6.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a few other ones in there. Like, I think it was kind of an interesting exercise when we were sort of discussing our favorite VI characters, because I was like, nope, we definitely have to have Shift Y to yank, and you guys were both, what? I've never used that. It isn't even on this cheat sheet doesn't even list it. And it's kind of like everybody has their favorite ones that they use all the time, or their muscle memory, and others that you got to look up or whatever. So I think it's kind of fun implementing some of those, and it's cool now to get it to a point of being able to use it as an editor, and also it's fun to contribute like some features that you like, or I like in this case, to it as well. So it's a good experience.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about, I guess, somewhat about how to implement some actual like interesting commands that might load up and run separate programs over the buffer and then reload it, just kind of like you can escape out an actual VI.
Right. I mean,
does
kind
VI
of like
support that, or does
it supports, yeah, you can do shell command like shell out, and you can run commands that the output of the command is loaded into VI. But kind of like X16 edit now, you can call base load or whatever after you've written your file out. So that's not from the buffer, that's from a written file. But anyway, there's lots of options there. I think the key that we're focusing right now, though, is trying to get it stable. There's a couple corner cases bugs here we saw, which was cool that we reproduced them now, because now we can maybe address them. Easier to find when you can reproduce, or fix when you can reproduce.
Exactly.
You got a recording of exactly what you were doing at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wish I could figure out like the issue. There's some kind of weird end of line issue that I don't know. I've got to figure it out. But
yeah, that reverse J that shows up once in a while, that one, whatever that bug is, we got to find that, because I do see that one somewhat regularly, but I can never, I don't reproduce it at will, but it happens, somewhat frequently.
wonder what happens if I do a 4 DD here. Okay, well, that's good to see that it worked correctly. So yeah, I guess that's all I got. I think we're bumping up.
Yeah, we're at time. Of course, we're going to continue on developing this, and as Brett said, if the code's available, and so the purpose of most of our videos, besides writing some cool stuff and getting to maybe some useful stuff, we're trying to promote Prog8 and push Prog8 forward in its development, because just like this XVI is under development, Prog8 is being actively developed as well. The language itself, it already does a tremendous amount, and you can cross compile on many machines. But the beauty of it is it's not a dead language. Have you ever heard someone say something about it being a dead language? It's not a dead language. So, all right. That we join us next time for our next episode.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Cut.
And cut.
Yeah. There you go. I'm gonna leave all that in.
Yeah. Part of the blooper reel.
Yeah.